God has blessed me with a talent that I was able to tap into.
Great.
And a family that's highly supportive of what I do.
That is awesome.
And I am very appreciative of my friends and my family out there that have helped me through this, because I could not have done it by myself.
Absolutely. Thank you, friends and family, for
Thank you.
supporting this young lady so that we can get together and help a number of other people.
Right.
You have said something without really saying it, and you talked about how blessed you are. First of all, I'm really blessed beyond all measure to have the wife that I have, because the saying that we have around the house, or that I have around the house, is I look at her and say, I don't know what I did to deserve this. And I really don't to this day, but whatever it is, I have to try to keep doing it. But the one thing that I really have heard from you, which is the message that I push to communicate to young athletes, and that is skills and that discipline that you acquired and that you have come to make second nature over the years. If you don't use it in your sport due to an injury or due to whatever the case may be, the beauty of it is you've got that discipline, but so many, there's that disconnect, and they don't understand it's transferable.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you just said to me without saying it, but you said it loud and clearly to me as a life and business coach. I heard that because I know for you to train for a race, you got to get up early in the morning, you got to maybe do 2 or 3 a days, you got to run when you don't want to, you got to give up a little bit of pride sometimes, whether you want to or not.
Yes.
And basically you just told me that you transferred those skills from sports to business. I mean, that spoke very loud and clear. So if you were to share a message to the parents or family members, you've talked about your family that's been very supportive of you. Apparently they supported you when you were an athlete as well, and now as a business person. What advice, because we find that a lot of parents sometimes really make things tough for the young student athletes. What advice would you give them?
I see that a lot, and I think that parents need to take a step back and allow their child to grow and explore, because just like I thought of basketball, granted it was the sport that was available to me at where I was at that particular time, but I developed another love for a different sport. And same with tennis, I did other sports as well. So with this, collectively, I became a very diligent runner, very good at it, and I'm really good at trails. And I didn't realize how much my playing as a child transferred into my activity as an adult.
Great.
My parents allowed me to explore the world and didn't hurdle or come on top of me and hover. And they allowed me to pick up a tick when probably I shouldn't have, but they allow me to be myself. And so many times parents try to live vicariously through their child. I wanted to do this, or I should have done this. Well, that was you, this is them.
Absolutely.
And there's so much stress put on a child these days that it blows my mind. With the social media and school and this. I mean, I was in school. It was a lot of stress then. I was not the pretty kid in class either. So I had the stress of the nerdy kid with big hair and really skinny to developing into a business person where I allowed the people who would make fun of me, made me stronger.
Right.
Instead of listening to them, they just built me up, really, and they didn't know they were actually doing it. But my parents didn't step in. They stood back at a safe distance and allowed me to grow.
Well, I am going to continue with that spirit, because when we met, there was just something really incredibly powerful about your spirit, and I could sense a spirit of helpfulness and of giving back. So that's my goal, is to help you however I can. And my wife and I, whatever we can do, we're really willing to do that. And we're going to do that by starting off and asking you to tell everybody how to get in contact with you. So we could sell some cookies,
That's right.
and you can learn about how to be healthy. So
That's right.
tell us about how to get in contact.
Well, you can contact me through the internet.
Okay.
It's skinnysouth.com.
Okay.
Or Facebook at Tracy Knight Nutrition. This is Twitter. How many social media sites do we have out there, right? Skinny South is the Twitter handle. LinkedIn is Tracy Knight, and my face is the picture.
There you go.
Let's see. Oh, and the phone number is 844-432-7781. It's toll free. So, because I have orders that go from Oregon to Germany.
Great.
So.
Okay. And I'm Coach Ricks, and I can be reached at 901-870-7492. I can also be reached by email at rixinternational@msn.com. And once again, we're talking with Tracy Knight, CEO of Skinny South Incredible Treats, and she can be reached once again. Tell us how to get in contact with you.
The internet.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, let's get back here. You are so disciplined, but yet I know you have to sneak some junk food every now and again. So what's your favorite junk food?
It's actually pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah, it's pizza.
Okay.
I admit it's pizza.
Okay. Well, obviously you don't eat too much of it. You just eat it in moderation.
I do. Actually, to splurge a little bit, but to have my guilty pleasure, I have a really big green salad with it.
Okay.
And I have 2 slices of pizza. So I don't go overboard, but I'm, I mean, come on, we all want a little bit of something nice, right?
Absolutely.
Slice of that pie.
You remind me of my aunt. I refer to her as Mom, and she told me just last night that that's what she had was 2 pieces of pizza. So, Mom, you did really great. Yeah. I also have one of your flyers here. I think this is really nice. And it talks about Eat, Fit, Plan.
Yes.
So this is part of your fitness planning and diet planning.
It is. It is. One of the number one things that I give just off the top of my head as tips to people is that after 3 o'clock, carbohydrates are no longer necessary. Breads and things you don't need.
Yes.
And so many people are addicted to bread. It's interesting how many ingredients go into it. Well, your body has to process those ingredients, and too many ingredients, it's hard for it to process. So what I do is I put people on more of a micronutrient diet, because the macros, which is your protein, fat, and carbohydrates, are so much into our society that we forget the dark greens have the macros as well. So with this, it's reduce the carbohydrates after 3 o'clock. I just say, just don't have it. And people, from what I have told, just that, in portions smaller in the evening, larger breakfast and lunch, more snacks in the day with your greens, because I notice a lot of people do not have greens.
Yes.
At all. They're like vegetables. I look at their nutrition, their food diary they give me, because that's one of the requirements to become one of my clients, because I know how serious they are, that they'll write it down. And I notice a lot of times they don't need to become my client. I look at it and I say, well, here you go right here. You've had all protein, hardly, and all carbs, absolutely no vegetables, no water, lots of sweet tea, Coca-Colas, lots of coffee, etc. Why don't we reduce this, increase this, and tell me how you feel after a couple of weeks, and then we'll continue from there. And with that, people will come back to me, like church people I go to church with, and they say, 3 weeks later, they go, I've lost 20 pounds by just eating this. They still do their donuts and things like that, but they're more cautious about portion on it. They'll have like a bite of a donut instead of the whole donut, because it's psychological as well. Same as the size of the plate. It's all psychological.
Yeah.
Mind over the matter.
Wow. So now you're a former athlete or current athlete as well.
I am.
Now, do you work with athletes as well as regular lay people, if you will, like me?
I do.
Okay. Now, so for example, if I were an athlete and I'm really interested in preparing for, let's just say I'm a guy and I'm preparing for the NFL Combine, could you work with me?
Yes, I can work with
Diet-wise? Okay.
anybody because science lies in people and food, and I just pair them together properly according to what your lifestyle is and what your needs are, and with the food. Your body's going to talk to me. A lot of times people don't realize, they're like, oh, I'm healthy, or I eat this in moderation, or I'm an athlete. Especially bodybuilders are my favorite clients because they're all protein, no fat, no carbohydrates, and so I have to retrain them to think a lot more healthier than they are. And they're professional athletes, and they find that they're doing better in their sport when they do this and not the traditional way.
How difficult is it for someone to adjust themselves to your training?
Not too bad, because I do a slow transition.
Great.
Just like the food journal. I see what they need to do. A lot of people say they don't like vegetables. So I give them a list of things that they might like, like minestrone soup or tomato soup or something of that nature. I tell them to put, cheese on broccoli, just to get something in their diet. And then the cheese that I ask them to use are more the white cheeses that have the reduced sodium naturally, whereas the cheddar cheese have higher amounts of sodium in it. So I do have things that I ask for. So with that, it's very important that they see you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Absolutely.
And then when they do, then we start slowly implementing the plan.
Wow. Well, I think with the show today, we've given enough to hopefully arouse a number of people's curiosity. And maybe we can get together. Who knows? Maybe we can do some combination fitness, health, character development, kind of bring people together from the inside out and the outside in. So I would love to see what we can do to help to change some lives.
Well, it definitely can. Actually, one of the projects that I'm working on that's going to be throughout, hopefully for you, is the Global Health Day, where I'm going to bring a lot of people together in one place so they can learn about health, wellness, fitness, and sports that they didn't know that they were probably good at.
Wow. Before we get out of here, tell them how to get in contact with you once again so that and when is the date going to be on the Global Health?
It's March the 14th. It's a Saturday of this year, 2015, and it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay.
And the Global Health Day is Facebook, facebook.com Global Health Day.
Well, let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been indeed a pleasure and a learning experience for me, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I want everyone to know that they can get in contact with Ms. Tracy Knight by all of the social media. She's on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and look for her for that Global or the Global Health Day.
Global Health.
This has been Ms. Tracy Knight. She's the CEO of Skinny South Incredible Treats, and I am Coach Ricks. It has certainly been indeed a pleasure and an honor to talk with you today, and we're looking forward to more training and more learning about how we can become more fit. And maybe you can help me to really get skinny, so I'm looking forward to that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, and remember to always be your best.